I really don't understand it, actually. I think there has never been a more important time in the dissemination of information to have a strong local news network. You know, there's just really clear evidence that if you can't tell the story of the people who are around you, who you know, who you see every day, then into that void can fall really, really unpleasant things. You make a leap to a much stronger message that might come from further away that actually has nothing to do with your life.
So I just don't see the need for the BBC to come into this space. I don't think the BBC should be using the licence fee to do things that are already well provided by the commercial news sector. We absolutely think there is a case for Ofcom to intervene. And I have to say we're disappointed by the passivity of that regulator. We hope that Ofcom will awake from its slumber and do something about this.
Diana Chambers from Keighley, West Yorkshire. What incensed me more than anything about your BBC director's responses to people begging for their local radio services to remain was that he should suggest it is in any way patronising to assume that we all want to listen to a timetable format. There are many people who are not online and who use it for other things, but for whom the radio in its place in the kitchen, bathroom, car and sitting room is like a reliable friend and companion.
All of my interactions with local radio tell me that in this particular case, Grimsby, Hull, Scunthorpe, you name it, it's your radio show that people are listening to and trust in a way that they don't trust the national media. There's much more trust in local radio. So I'm a big fan of it. And I'm very worried once it starts being cut, once it starts to disappear, I worry whether it'll ever come back again.
There is some move, I suppose, towards digital, but not necessarily among the listening demographic for BBC local radio. You know, this is a more mature audience. There are nearly 11 million people now over the age of 65 in the country today. That's a fifth of the total population. And BBC local radio does look after them in a way that no other radio station does. And you know, many listeners over the age of 54, I think it's nearly 60% of listeners over the 54, still rely on ordinary analogue radios. Many years ago in the 1980s, BBC Radio Nottingham, you'll remember, had the wonderful Dennis McCarthy, who was shared right across the East Midlands. But those stations didn't abandon their local drive time programmes.
Jill Andrews from North Ferriby in East Yorkshire. Local radio is hugely important to so many, but particularly the lonely and the elderly. It is seen as a lifeline for many and a source of information not found on national stations. The decision is irrational and an outrage. There was no consultation or discussion. And to those at the top of the BBC radio hierarchy, you really should be ashamed.
And it's one of those terrible things, you know, once that part of the forest has been cut down, it won't ever grow again. So I think it is bonkers.